what you need to do is go onto the app and set up automatic payments. Hey, what's going on? It's Isaac Nibbler again. Earlier, Isaac back with another banger. Today, we're going to talk about the 6 top credit card mistakes that beginners seem to make. So we always get notifications on like Credit Karma. Sometimes we get mail, even emails introducing these new credit cards and these credit products. And yes, it can be tempting, but without the right financial knowledge, it can hurt your credit score. So before you apply for those, make sure you listen to this video. I'm going to show you the top 6 mistakes that people make. So if you don't make these mistakes, you'll be a lot better off. Okay, so starting with 1, the first mistake is applying for too many cards at once. You don't want to apply for too many cards at once because that will result in a lot of inquiries on your report, which you don't want many of, because that will affect your score and your ability to get new credit. Yes, they're good, but you have to be strategic in the way that you want to get them. You can't just go applying for every single card that you see a good offer on. After applying for all these cards, the hard inquiry is going to stay on a report for up to 2 years. And that's going to hold you back from getting the credit products like I was saying. So yeah, most credit card companies don't want to see you with too many inquiries because they're going to look at you wanting to request too many new accounts at one time. So that means you're, like I said in previous videos, it's going to seem that you really need it, which you don't want them to think that. So applying for too many cards at once is seen as a red flag. Since beginners have very little credit history or even bad credit history, it's important to limit your inquiries. And if you do have a good credit score and good history, it might not affect you as much because you will have to wait a little bit less because the new accounts is only 10% of your credit score, which means if you have good credit on the other categories, it will be quicker turnaround time. So if you have really good credit, you don't have to wait as long. For example, you have bad credit, you might have to wait between like 6 to 12 months before applying for a new card and getting accepted to. And there's also a specific rule with some banks, like Chase, for example. They have a 524 rule, means you can't have more than 5 new accounts within the last 24 months in order to get a card with them. So you have to be careful with that also. So that's the end of the first mistake, applying for too many credit products. Mistake number 2 is getting the wrong cards, applying for the wrong cards. Especially if you're early on in your credit journey and you don't have too much credit or too much history, applying for the wrong cards can hold you back from building your credit fastly and getting credit products. Yes, you might have no credit and want to get an Amex because everyone wants Amex, right? But that, you're not really likely on getting it unless you have a good history. So yes, you might see all these bonus points, 80,000, 100,000 bonus points with certain companies, but just because you see the bonus points doesn't mean you're going to get accepted. So making sure you apply for the right cards is very important. And knowing how your credit report is and how your credit history is before applying for certain cards. It's important to weigh out your options because some cards might benefit a travel lifestyle, some cards might benefit a cashback lifestyle, but then some cards might not even have any benefits at all. So you got to make sure you tap into the right ones that you want to get and the right one that suits your lifestyle. For example, the Apple card has unlimited 2% cash back on all purchases. As for the Amex cards, some of them cards have points back on every dollar spent, so that can help with your flights and accommodation if you want to go down that route. Also, there's annual fee credit cards where you'll have to pay an annual fee every year to keep the card and to use the card's benefits. So at the start of your journey, I recommend getting cards that have flexible points that you can transfer, like Chase or American Express. Okay, so the third and fourth mistake I'm going to combine into one, which is maxing out your credit cards and not treating your credit cards like the cash that you have. As a beginner, you're only going to get a small limit, so only use those cards like cash. You want to use them cards, you want to use them, and you want to pay them all off on time. You want to make sure your utilization is below 10%, and you're going to want to make sure you always have on-time payments. For example, you get $1,000 credit card and you've used $900, that's 90%. That is going to negatively affect your credit report and your standing with the bank. So you're going to want to pay that below $100 every month, and always after 3 to 6 months, you can ask for a credit limit increase, and then you're going to get a credit increase. and then you can start spending more. But at the start of your journey, it's best to start small. Make sure you're paying off on time. Make sure you're using the cards, and make sure you're paying them off on time and paying them all the way down below 10% credit utilization. So to calculate your credit utilization, it is your balance on your card divided by the credit limit. So you're gonna wanna make sure if you have that $1,000 on the credit card, make sure you have at least $1,000 in your bank account. So when you do spend $1,000, you can pay it right off. At the beginning stages, it's best to stick to the budget. Make sure you have the same amount of cash that you're spending on your cards so you can pay them all the way off. And be strategic about it. Pay off your cards on time and keep your utilization low so you can keep asking for credit limit increases. I've made another video on that, so you can go check that out. Moving on to beginner mistakes number 5. And that is on-time payment. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I'm gonna give you a quick hack. On-time payments can really affect your standing with the bank and also your credit report. For example, me, I had a credit card that was 0% interest and I paid it a day late. But because I paid it late, that was a 0% interest card. They increased the interest to 30%. So you gotta be careful with that. And that's just one little stupid mistake that I made. What you need to do is go onto the app and set up automatic payments. Once the automatic payments are set up, you're not going to have to worry about it, as the minimum is going to come out every month automatically, and you'll never have to face the problem that I faced. So that's a quick, easy hack. And yeah, make sure you set up your automatic payment. And if, for instance, you do pay it late, make sure you pay it late. Make sure you pay that off as soon as possible, because if you leave it 30 days late, that's going to show up on your report, and that's going to negatively affect your report because payment history is a big factor on your credit score. Okay, finally, for the last mistake, number 6, it is closing credit cards when you're not using them. Closing your credit cards when you're not using them, you may think it's good, but realistically it's not, because credit age is a big factor in your credit score. It only takes up 15% of it, but it is an important factor, because when banks look at your credit report and you don't have much age, they're not going to look at you and say, whoa, you can handle this money. They're going to look at like you're a beginner and you're not fit to hold their money. So it's important to keep them cards open, unless it's like a card that has annual fees and you're not using the card or you're not using the benefits, then you can close it. But for example, there's no annual fees. Just use the card for like one little purchase, make sure automatic payments are set. And then that card may keep increasing over time, and then it might become a card that's valuable. It's always better to have credit than not have credit. It's always better than to have money just in case of emergency. So that's it. That's the end of mistake number 6. So going back, mistake number 1, applying for too many credit products at once. Mistake number 2 is getting the wrong cards. Mistake number 3 and 4 is maxing out your credit cards and not treating your credit cards like cash. 5 is on-time payments, making sure you always have on-time payments. And finally, 6 is never close cards that you're not using. Let me know in the comments below any other mistakes that I may have missed or you have come across, or if you found any of this video handy. Everybody can learn from this, and everybody can learn from your mistakes that you've made. So share them down in the comment section below to help the next person. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. My top 6 credit card mistakes that beginners make. So yeah, peace out. Only Isaac. Thanks for watching. Peace.